Oh, this will be an interesting game. Well, the main fights here are going to be VIP versus Dim, and also a pretty nice fight between Captain Yang and the Frey. Probably not the best gameplay, but some pretty cool stuff will happen. So let me speed this up. Also in this game we have really good air players, DCCC versus VMC Schneck. This will be also a nice clash of styles. And of course in the other ocean we have two very good players who will also have a pretty good fight. Carlos and Mr. White. Their game will go in a more standard direction. So here we see VIP has UEF and Dim also has UEF. Both players going with the most popular faction right now. And Captain Yang going with Aeon in the middle against Cybern with the Frey. So we see Yang is going with the usual running your commander up the middle, while the Frey is really taking his time, which is a big mistake, building multiple factories. You can see that Yang's commander is in the middle much faster. Also, Yang made some early hunters, which are really nice early on. It's a nice investment, but he chose not to use them. He just sort of threw them out there, most likely for defense of his early Angie, which is getting mass from. And it's also nice to see Carlos trying to sneak in on some of this action in the middle, sending an early Angie in. So we see at 3:45, VIP takes his island. It does an Angie drop, and just a little bit after that, 4 minutes, we have Mr. White taking his own island. So both rocks take the island. Nothing special happening at that point. If we look at the plan for VIP, he has a lot of air factories planned, so he's looking for a nice air fight and expecting Dim to, who usually has really good air. But here, if we look at the 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes, Dim already has two T1 naval factories, which is a really nice rush build, and in them he's making frigates, so the basic UEF naval unit. In the middle we have basically no fighting going on. Both commanders taking all the mass, and in this one Captain Yang got about twice as much mass as the Frey, because the Frey was so late. And we see the first frigates from Dim going in the direction of the island. See a nice scout from VIP, so now he sees that this is basically a naval build and he has no navy, and he's going to respond immediately to build his own navy. Of course he has no naval factories, and then there's 3 here already producing 4 ships, so he's quite a bit behind. In terms of score he is slightly ahead, but it's very even. He has invested a little more into Tech 2 mexes than Dim has, although both players have. But also a pretty nice thing to see from Dim, a whole bunch of factories making energy. So build power, something that Dim has a whole bunch, and he's planning on making more. Of course there's quite a few factories here, but you can see a big disadvantage that Rock has versus the beach is that it's much easier to get the build power to your factories. It's really difficult. You need some transports to get them into the air. So now they have 2 factories that VIP has built pretty quickly, but there's not many NGs, not a lot of build power around them. You can see, as expected, VIP was going for T1 air, and he has pretty good control of it. Of course he has a pretty big naval disadvantage, and what VIP is making is torpedo launchers and submarines, so these ships have no submarine defense, so that's a pretty good move. So Captain Yang upgrading his commander. You see that first factory from VIP getting destroyed, but this torpedo launcher is pretty good against these ships. Of course there's 4 of them, and then them sending more ships in other places where VIP can start a navy. Basically taking control of this ocean early on. It's 9 minutes in. We have some nice bombing going on from Carlos on Mr. White, so pretty much a T1 air fight going on here, which seems like Carlos is getting more kills. So the nice thing about these frigates is that they have also anti-air capability, so it takes quite a bit of bombing to kill them with T1 air, but they will kill a lot of T1 air themselves. So you see a whole bunch of frigates. Now we have 8 frigates, well actually 10 frigates and a destroyer from dim, while VIP is sitting on a single sub and not much production. So realizing that, he's going to upgrade his factory and make some amphibious units try to counteract this. And Captain Yang has got a shield on his ACU, so it's pretty early to see that. It's a pretty expensive upgrade that he invested quite a bit of his economy in, but he had a pretty big advantage in mass, so he had the luxury. So he's got gun, shield, and a T2 engineering, you can tell by health, which basically puts him at about 5 times as much health as the Cybern ACU at this point. And you can see his gun upgrade, so he's getting a whole bunch of kills, basically taking this entire army. So the bottom team, realizing this, has responded by Dim actually shifting his navy to help the fray in the middle, and the navy has quite a bit of hit power. It's going against this ACU. Of course, this ACU at this point is not really carrying too much. Still a little bit of T1 naval fighting going on, but really the only thing that VIP has is a sub, which won't get killed by these. Then as soon as Dim gets a destroyer up, it'll be over. And you see the next 2 units that Dim builds from the T2 factory is a cruiser to get his air protection, as well as long bombardment, and a shield just to basically get much more health for his entire team, for his entire naval force. And Captain Yang still getting lots of kills. He's actually taking on Tech 2 PDs, which have quite a bit of hit power, but his shield is still holding out, and he's taking basically an entire force. So one very powerful unit in which he invested quite a bit of his economy. He's killing off an entire army. And now we see some Tech 2 torpedo bombers from both DCCC and VIP trying to recover from this early naval disadvantage. But of course, Schneck has his T3 air in the vicinity to help protect, as well as quite a bit of T1 air from Dim. And almost a close call for Captain Yan, but he's got quite a bit of veterancy and not really going to care much. He's just going to keep killing. And maybe if there wasn't this naval presence from Dim, he could have made a bigger push. So now we're going to have a first naval air fight, and let me slow this game down for it so we can see what these players are doing in terms of micro. So we see both a little bit more planes for Schneck, and also he has an advantage that there are cruisers actually shooting these planes here. So nice combination of naval and air. But you see both air forces going in circles trying to avoid the others. You can see where the players are moving. Air Force. And a lot of time nothing is being shot at. You can see here DCC has a slight advantage. Almost got behind, but a quick turn from VMC. So pretty even air fight. Let me speed this up. But there's big advantage for VMC. Another thing we can notice is that DCCC has quite a bit higher score, and that's because he invested much more into the economy than VMC, who basically knew he needed to make air to protect Dim's early naval rush, and that's exactly what he did. He built just enough. You can see he's actually going to take over T3 air with the help of these cruisers. So if you lose both naval and air, and T2 bombers is really your only way out of this situation, it's a very bad place to be in. You see some amphibious units, some riptides from VIP trying to cause some damage on this navy, but that will be very difficult. Still see Captain Yang going at it. He's got 88 kills now, taking on a T24 as a commander. Some nice T1 bombers from Carlos trying to help his ally out. And you see how good these cruisers are. 23 kills already, a lot of air, and as well as this bombardment. See VIP trying to make cruise missile defense here. And yeah, actually going down to 4,000 hit points, hiding in the water. This navy is going to push in. Should have been there before. Yang would have probably been dead. See these torpedo bombers and a nice scout from VMC. Nice all these. And as long as VMC is flying over this navy, he's feeling pretty safe. He's got a nice advantage. There are multiple cruisers now. Actually, there are now how many cruisers? 3 cruisers, so a lot of anti-air. And these cruisers are also bombarding. On the other ocean, we basically see quite a bit of a stalemate. Both players have respect for each other. Now Yang, waiting for his shield to recover, he's almost back, getting hit by some amphibious tanks with torpedoes on him, making torpedo launchers. And we see now White's navy get it in close. But now the shield is recovered, and so he now has another 30,000 hit points, which will allow him to escape. And now without this ACU present, the fray is making a push through the middle. Of course, we see here some Tech 3 units built by Captain Yang, which will stop this force with really no difficulty. The biggest problem for Yang now is this navy, which is both destroying VIP's base as well as Yang's base. So a really interesting thing to see is that Dim actually still has T1 mexes. So he chose what he's doing, which is not teching up. And here at 15 minutes, he has T1 mexes and a whole bunch of navy. While we look at VIP's base, he's got a bunch of T3 mexes. So each one of these, for the cost of making one of those, you can make 2 destroyers or 2 Tech 2 naval ships. It's a pretty big investment into economy versus navy. And now we see Yang with his shield over 100 kills now. Still getting more. It's just basically decimating everything. And we see VIP basically doing crazy things, taking his ACU to his island. He is really running out of things that he can possibly do. So all of his build power is going back. He's trying to make some power, trying to get some shields up. But at this point, Dim knows he has basically won the naval battle. Only bad thing that can happen if they completely lose air and he gets bombarded. But even then, it'd be very difficult to kill this force. Yang trying to make some tactical missile defense, but it'll take quite a bit because there are now 5 cruisers, and you can see them basically switch completely to making cruisers and shield boats. So anti-air, bombardment, and shield defense to provide lots of hit